Hi everybody, my name's Rob from Thames Valley Windows, and today we're going to look at timber doors. So, in another video I've talked about the underlying principles of our timber, which is that they are very good at managing maintenance and very good at being flexible in terms of colour. So anything from Farrow & Ball that you like, we can do in and out. So very flexible. Now, another thing is, have a look at this Dixie. This is a classic Victorian style door, and you'll notice it has a nice chunky mid-rail, a nice chunky mullion, and a nice tall kick plate at the bottom. And that lifts the door. It makes it much more typical of the door you might expect to see in your mind's eye if you're driving around London. It's a proper, decent, chunky style door. Hardwood jambs at the bottom to avoid rot, and hardwood sills as well. Now in this particular case we've got lots of different furniture. We've got an architectural letter plate, we've got a nice finger pull and a chrome ring pull. The locking mechanisms on the doors are German. They're made by a company called Winkhaus. Very robust. It's a solid steel strip that comes around the edge, multi-point locking, solid steel strip, multi-point where the lock comes out and hits another steel keep on the frame side of the door. Extremely strong. Another thing to note, you'll notice the English panel. Sometimes people will know this as a raised and fielded panel. Sometimes it's called an English panel, but it is a classic feature of English doors. And it's simply a moulded edge with a sort of field in the middle that pops up. It's incredibly popular, it's very beautiful, and it's entirely reliant on a spindle moulder. You can't make these out of extruded products, so it's difficult for the PVC and the composite industry to copy these features. It's one of the things that makes them very elegant and very original to timber doors. And if you look at it over here, there's a similar one with a 3 English door panel style. I call this the Sherlock Holmes door, and it's very much a sort of 10 Downing Street type door. Beautiful, elegant. We can make them as wide as people like, so they can have metre wide doors or even 1100mm instead of just the normal 900. So they can be big gravitas statement front doors. This one's called the Jennifer, and it's got a dome knob in the middle. Sometimes these are umbrella shaped as well, but they're a classic statement piece for a door of that style. Most residential front doors open into the room, into the hall. French doors, on the other hand, typically open out into the garden, so you've got space saved inside the room. French doors, they can open in or out. This particular pair of French doors opens in. They do usually open out to allow more room in the garden. They have something called a floating mullion, and if you look at this, there's little catches top and bottom, so you can open this door, and then this will open as well. And this bit, there's normally a fixed piece of timber here or another piece of material. This bit here is called a floating mullion. It floats out with a door, or a flying mullion. So you get a nice big space. They can have double handles if people prefer. In this particular case, we've specified it with a catch top and bottom. So it's a slightly more minimalist approach. And that's French doors. So doors in general have a glazed field or a timber field. You know, they're either made of wood or they're made of bits of glass. It doesn't really matter what you want to put in that field. You can put English panels, you can put Georgian bars, you can put obscured glass, you can put leaded glass, you can put tongue and groove panels like in this solid oak door. It doesn't really matter what you want to put in them. The choice is down to you. It's just a design feature. Right, okay, so thresholds of the doors, another really important part. Old style doors, people are always tripping over the thresholds, the upstands are too high. Modern thresholds on well-made doors are low. And if you see here, on this oak door, it's about 15mm. There's about 15mm of upstand. It's almost flush. So that's a normal, and it's an aluminium threshold. You can also get what's called a Part M compliant, which is essentially a disabled access threshold on this door over here, the Dixie, which has a little metal ramp, a little aluminium ramp, and the threshold is even lower. Door furniture, there's a fairly big choice, and generally, of course, people will want to match the letter plates. If there's a knocker, whether it's a ring knocker or a dome knob, and the escutcheon, if it's a slam-shut door, and I'll come on to locking in a minute. So here's an escutcheon with a matching letter plate of satin chrome, and they come in all the usual colours, so black, gold, bronze, shiny chrome, aluminium type chrome, if you know what I mean. As well as the normal furniture on the front of the door, you also get the hinges, and the hinges are an important component of the door that's hidden for most of the time, but when they are exposed, isn't it nice to have something that's extremely robust, you know is never going to deviate from a normal opening position. In our case, we've got 3 hinges. In this case, it's chrome, and they're all with Torx fixing, so they're incredibly strong, thick gauge steel. They're never ever going to fail. So, handles and locking mechanisms. There are 2 basic types. You can have what most people associate with a front door, which we call a slam shut. And in this case, you pull the door to and it's locked, and then you need a key to open it. But you also get handle type locks, like with these French doors. And again, most people will be familiar with this mechanism where you shut the door, you lift the handle, and that's sent the chute bolts up, but it doesn't lock until you lock it with a key. That means you can be in your garden, you can get back into the house without needing a key. When you come to actually lock the door, you pop the chute bolts up and lock it with a key, and then it's locked for good. So with a slam shut lock, it's different to the ones in the French door style. In this case, you open the door, when you pull it shut, it's locked, and you then need a key to reopen the door. And it is in fact a more traditional style of front door locking. So there's no doubt that timber doors bring a certain gravitas, a certain warmth, and a quintessentially English feel, the wow factor to a home. They light up the elevation and they just give it something that's quintessentially English. And I think it's quite fair to say they do appeal to a more discerning buyer. And I would strongly encourage people to come and see them for themselves. I've talked about the nice bits and the different bits that make Thames Valley Timber different and unique, but you've got to see them. You can't judge a front door based on images you find on the internet. You must come in and see them personally, feel them, open them, mess around with the locking mechanisms, and you'll see the difference. And it's worth doing that, I would suggest.